This is going to be a screencast for Harness the Wind Lab spreadsheet. What you're going to do is you'll get a blank spreadsheet with just these questions at the bottom. And then you'll need to set up the data table like I have, with the independent variable being each one of the sections and the dependent variable being the amount of power they produced in milliwatts. So this is the data from last year. Obviously, your numbers will be a little bit different, and you'll be getting them from the board in my room, but you'll be able to populate all these cells with the right numbers when you're in class. And then once you've done that and you've set up this data table like I have, then you'll be able to make the calculations. But obviously, with different numbers, you're going to have different answers. So one of the things that you might not know how to do is how to merge cells. See how I did that to make this one giant cell for the power in milliwatts. And I'll show you how to do that up here. You simply click on the cell that you want and you highlight them. So if I wanted to merge all of these cells right here, I highlight all of them. And then I click on the Merge Cells button. And when I do that, it makes it one giant cell. Then in order to center the power in milliwatts, I just hit the center button, and now whatever I type is going to go right in the center there. Now for the other stuff, how to calculate the average of all of them, you'll just click on the cell where you want the average, and we want to average every team from section 1. So in order to do that, we come up, hit the function button, click average, and then we select the cells that we want it to average. So it's going to select these 7 cells, it's going to average it, hit enter, and it gives us 651.8 milliwatts. Now, you could do that with each one, or you could simply click on this average cell, and then you'll see the blue square, make it turn into a plus, drag down, and it will then average all of them. Now this is too many decimals. We don't need that many. We're going to just go to 4 significant digits. So that's, in this case, 4 numbers. So highlight all 4 of those cells, or excuse me, 5 of those cells, and then hit the decrease decimal places. And we'll work our way down until we have 4 of them. All right. Now, when it comes to answering the questions down at the bottom, it says, which class has the highest average power output? Well, you can simply now look at your information here, and that will give you the answer to that one, and type that into the cell next to the answer. On the next one, it says, what is the average power output of the entire 7th grade? So that's an easy one to do. We'll just hit the average button again. But now we want to know the average of all of the teams from all of the grades. So we simply highlight all of those, and you can see that it's averaging all of these cells right here, C11 through I15. You hit enter, and that gives us the entire average for the whole grade, 601.3 milliwatts. Now it wants to know if all of the turbines were going at once, what would be the power output in milliwatts? Well, think about that. That would be, if they're all going at once, we want the sum or the addition of all of these at the same time. So we tell the computer to do the sum, or to add them all up, and we add all of these up here. That's the 35 teams that we need. Hit enter, and we get 21,047.1 milliwatts. Now we need to convert that into watts. A milliwatt is 1/1000th of a watt. So the way that you do that is you need to take this number and divide it by 1,000. You can just move the decimal place over 3 places if you like to the left. But since we're in a spreadsheet, let's show you how to do a calculation for that. You'd hit equals. When you hit equals, once again, that tells the computer that you're doing a calculation. And we want to divide this cell right here. So we click on it, divide that by 1,000, and then you hit enter, and it automatically takes that calculation and gives you 21 watts. Then you're going to click on the link to the left and find a device that could power. You could power using all of the turbines. So we're dealing with 21 watts of energy, at least in this grade, or last year's group was. You'll have a different number. So when you click on this link, it's going to look like this. And you can see I happen to be on a dishwasher, and its wattage is 330. So that's too much. We're not going to be able to power a dishwasher, at least last year's group wasn't. So if you just hit this arrow and go through and find an appliance or something that you could run that is approximately the same value as the one you calculated. Then not finally, but finally on this one, you're going to use the same link right here and calculate how much it costs to run your refrigerator for 1 year. So you'll click on this button, you'll find the refrigerator, and then once you do that, put in the information that it asks, and then calculate how much it costs to run your refrigerator for a year. All right. Then back to our Harness the Wind spreadsheet. You now need to create a bar graph that shows the average power output for each class, and please move it to its own sheet. So that's pretty straightforward. What you're going to do is you're going to select all of this, because this is what we want to graph. Don't worry about getting the power up there, okay? You'll add that later. You then come over to the Insert Chart button. When you click on it, it's going to give you something that looks a little crazy like this, but that's good. Now we're going to select our data range that we want to graph specifically. And I'm going to move this up so it's or over here so it's out of our way. So we want to graph the independent variable is the section. So we want to tell the computer that yes, we want to graph this as our independent variable. We want to add another range, and we want to graph the average as the dependent variable, which is the power in milliwatts. We hit OK, and it's going to give us this, which is basically what we want. Now you're going to hit on the customization button. When you customize it, that will allow you to give it the proper title. Remember the effect of the IV on the DV. It will allow you to label the X and Y axis. This one is already labeled for you. Isn't that nice? The Y axis, right? You need to put the variable and the unit that's used to measure it. So make sure you put that. We'll want to remove the legend. If you click to the None button on legend, it will remove it because we don't need it. It's telling us that's what it is. And then I think once you've done all those things, you can hit the Insert button. Once you've hit the Insert button, like I asked you to, if you'll click, I'll show you real quick here. Hit the Insert button. If you click right here, you can then go to Move to your own sheet, and ta-da, there it is. And then down here, you can click back and forth between your data table and your graph. All right. Hope that helps, and get that done.